What's up, everybody? This is the Sports League podcast. Back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got the co-host, Amanda. Amanda, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. A lot of fun, a lot of family, food, and football, huh?
I mean, it was definitely one for the books football wise. There was some stuff, lots of
Yeah,
stuff, and
lots to talk about for
lots
sure.
of food, lots of stuff, lots of stuffing. Yeah, we got to have some chats about those games yesterday because and today,
Just
Black
ridiculous
Friday
football.
football.
And it's like, can these teams even I don't understand NFL teams failing to even be able to execute with the game on the line.
The simplest. Obviously, Alex is talking about the Bears here.
Well, the
Um,
Bears, the Raiders.
just real quick here though. So you got an early Christmas present. Do you want to tell us how you're feeling about Eberflus being fired?
Hell yeah, about time. I mean, he
Yeah.
shouldn't have been the coach this year at all. He should have been replaced. Um, it was obvious. It makes me feel better because it was obvious that even though the Bears suck, and I hate having to watch them go through this, and what are they on, like a 6 game losing streak or 6 game losing streak now? But you could see it when they lost to the Commanders on that Hail Mary. He lost the
Mhm.
locker room, and it was poor situational on that, allowing the 15-yard pass and then not having your guys ready. He had a timeout before that Hail Mary and didn't
Yeah.
take that. And he didn't. And then there's 32 seconds on the clock. I don't get how do you, I mean, that's just, I saw multiple players saying it's coaching malpractice.
Mhm.
Right then, I knew you have to fire him, even as incompetent as the Bears organization is, and they've never fired anyone mid-season. You had to do it. Mike Florio at Pro Football Talk posted a thing yesterday. It said Matt Eberflus is daring the Bears to fire him,
Oh,
and
he wanted to be put out of his misery at this
yeah,
point. I think he had given up and he was just begging for it. Like there was no other recourse in this situation. Like the Bears were down by 3 points. They had the ball on the 25-yard line, one timeout, 46 seconds left. There was no
yeah.
turnovers. They didn't attempt a field goal. There was no timeouts called. They did not score. Like nothing. I don't understand that. Like I think malpractice is the perfect word to use because there's absolutely no excuse. Like if you go for a field goal and you miss it, if you try to get a couple more yards and you don't convert or you fumble, like at least you did something.
Yeah. No, and the worst part is, yeah, he could have taken it. So if you take it right away, it's at 32 seconds and you're
Mhm.
fine. And he waited because he wanted to keep that last time out. You know what it is when you don't have any timeouts and you got to go 30, 40 yards. So he wanted to keep the timeout. But once it was getting down to 20, 15 seconds, at that point, you have to swallow your pride and just take it. And I
Yeah.
know you've lost a bunch of time, but you got to take it. Give yourself, a chance to regroup and everything. And Caleb Williams said the play they called on that didn't even have a shot to the end zone. Like Caleb audibled to send Romo Dunze to the end zone. Like there was nothing there.
Oh.
And and then the play before that, Larry Borum, the right tackle, doesn't even move. The defender goes right around him and sacks Caleb Williams on third down.
And it sucked too because like you didn't think there like as a Bears fan, like you didn't think anything was gonna happen. But like if you're down three and you're on the 25-yard line and you get to that point in the game, like it was a comeback. It was a completely different second half game from the first half game.
Yeah.
And had I been a Bears fan, I would have been getting my hopes up and thinking we had that in the bag. We're at least gonna take it to overtime. And to just let it just dissipate like that, like ugh.
So I'll give you the breakdown of me, what was happening
Tell
with
me about
me.
your emotional roller coaster, please.
So I go to the family event and I'm watching the football game with my brother and a bunch of other people in the first half. And they're getting their ass kicked. They're down 16-0. It's whatever. The more the Bears get back into it, the closer it gets. I mean, even when they're down 10 and they're driving, I'm now sitting up and like standing and like into this game because there's no team besides the Packers that I want to beat more than the Lions. I want to kick the Lions' ass, and on top of that, you can snap their 9 game winning streak. You
Well, and
know,
also the Lions had lost seven straight Thanksgiving games. So the
Yeah,
Lions are kind of
exactly.
cursed on Thanksgiving. So
Yeah,
that
and
was a prime opportunity for the Bears.
I had that Family Guy like with the Lions, like, hey, it's Thanksgiving. Don't you have a football game you should be losing? Like, I had that ready to go. I wanted to beat the Lions so badly, and that final drive. Uh, First of all, the officiating was bad in this game. The officiating was pro Lions, and it was bad. There was multiple missed calls, except for one pass, the pass interference on DJ Moore on fourth down. That was a makeup
Mhm.
call. There was no pass interference there,
Yeah,
but
I saw
so
that one. I was like, oh, that was a little
yeah,
bit
that
of
was
a
a
oops,
makeup
our
call.
bad.
But the third down when Caleb Williams gets sacked, I'm so pissed. Like I get up and I'm like pacing, like walking away from the TV, like what the fuck?
Yeah,
And
there
I
was
come back
some interesting refing.
and the final play, the final throw is going up, and then the game's over, and I'm like, wait, what just happened? Like we had 30 seconds, and I go back, I rewind it, and you just see the clock just ticking, and it's like, where the fuck is the head coach there? Like of all the times needed to step in and do something and be a head
So
coach,
I understand the head coach, but there was no one on the coaching staff like screaming at him.
I
Like
don't
nobody
know.
was pointing at the clock. Nobody was looking at the clock. Like you can't tell me there wasn't an assistant or a ball boy or somebody be like, guys,
Somebody,
out the clock, the clock. Like I didn't see anyone on the sidelines like animated, which was weird to me. Like
yeah,
maybe they
I
just
think
didn't
someone
show
said
it.
that the OC Thomas Brown was asking for a timeout, and Eberflus like waved him off or said no. I don't know.
Was
Like
this
he
just
won.
like
It,
coaching suicide? Like was he intentionally
yeah,
trying to lose this? Like
I
weird.
it's yeah. There's no explanation for it. That's why he's got to get fired.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing was if the Bears had pulled this off, I wanted a touchdown. And right before they had that play to DJ Moore that got us within the 20-yard line, and then the flag brought it back.
Hmm.
That drive, if you remember, started at the 1-yard line. The
Yeah.
Lions player's cleat was like centimeters from the goal line when they stopped the ball at the 1. So Caleb Williams had to go 99 yards to get down
And
there.
moved it too. They were
Yeah,
smooth with moving it. They
yeah,
didn't
converted a
waste it.
fourth down.
Yeah.
So Caleb looks good. He struggled in the first half, but he had a big second half. We've
Mhm.
seen that now multiple weeks. He did that against the Vikings as well, and against the Packers. He played better in the second half. But this team has the coaching staff has lost the locker room. There's no hope for this team right now.
It just sucks because like that's 3 straight weeks of losing to your division rivals. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Lions. I am liking them targeting Sam Laporta more. I know that they have a lot of offensive weapons there, but I really like him. But that was only his second receiving touchdown his third receiving touchdown.
This season, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
he had his third. He'd only had two. He had number two against the Titans. So he had, two in this game. But I can't believe his numbers were so low.
Yeah,
So over
yeah, I
the
saw
past
that.
2 seasons, he'd had 15 total, but like you look at how this season, like his numbers are way lower, and they relying heavily on the run game. They have a lot of weapons, but he has the most by any tight end over the past 2 years, and he's been having a slow year, so that's still incredibly impressive. And I love Sam Laporta. Um,
Yeah.
and what's interesting is Chicago's run D was pretty strong in this game. This is the first time this season Detroit has not scored a rushing touchdown. They were 25 straight games with a rushing touchdown until this game, the longest
Yeah.
streak in NFL history.
Wow,
And
that's
Chicago broke
crazy.
it. Like parts of the Chicago team are ready to go.
Yeah.
The coaching staff clearly was not. There was some young rookie kind of mistakes, jumping off sides and situations like that, where obviously they need to grow together a little bit more. But I am in every week, it seems like the Bears improve on something. Yes, they find a new way to lose each week, but there is a visible improvement in an area where they have previously had an issue week to week. So I'm excited to see what the Bears do moving forward. Do you have a, a concept of who you want to be the head coach? Do you want someone in-house? Do you
Uh,
want to bring someone else in? Belichick is not coming, so don't even.
Well, that's what I want. Is I don't want. I know a lot of people are talking about Ben Johnson from the Lions. Every year they're going to talk about the hot coordinator, right? Whoever's
Yeah.
having a lot of success. I don't want that at all. I don't want an unproven guy anymore. We had Nagy, we had Tressman, we had Eberflus. all first-time head coaches. I
Yeah.
want someone. If it were up
Seasoned.
to me, I would go get Mike Vrabel.
Okay.
That's that's who I would get.
I thought you were gonna say
Um,
Tomlin. I was like, I don't think he's available.
I mean, of course,
That's
Mike
where I thought that was
Tomlin
going. And I
or
was like,
Jim
oh, you dream
Harbaugh.
big. Is that your Christmas wish? Like, dear Santa.
Mike Vrabel, someone like John Gruden,
Okay.
um, or Bill Belichick, and it's not going to happen, but like a proven winner, a proven coach, I don't see it. I know Ben Johnson is a great offensive coordinator. I get it. Like he was, that torching the Bears with his play calling, but that means nothing if you can lead a locker room, if you can, make situational decisions that are going to help your team, you know. So it's much more than just being a play caller as a head coach.
Yeah. I get what you mean about the veteran situation. I have a feeling it's gonna be sorry. My dog has decided he wants to be on the podcast with his tail. Shh. Ew. Ignore him.
What's up,
Um,
Tucker?
do you wanna say hi?
Yeah, let's see him.
He's cute. He blends in with my shirt though. Ugh, come here, fatty. Say hi to the
What's
camera.
up, buddy?
Mm,
How
say
you
hi.
doing?
Bye. He's such a baby. Anyway, one thing about this game, did you notice the missed field goal for Bates?
Yeah, we
He was
needed that. That was
19 for
big.
19 before that.
Yep.
Starting his career, that's insane. The accuracy, like the
Yeah.
only team in the NFL to not miss a field goal coming into the season. Like
And
that's
it's not like they've been all easy. There's been some
no,
long
he's
ass
hit some
kicks in
good
there.
ones. Like he was
Yeah.
can't miss. Like so that was a nice break for Chicago there. Kind of kept him in a little bit, but sucks. I'm glad you guys got what you wanted. I'm sorry it happened with an
One,
almost comeback win to raise your blood pressure.
this is the biggest issue for any Bears fan, though. We are building something. Caleb Williams, we've got some receivers, we've got some talent on the team, but how can any of us have any faith in ownership or polls or whoever it is that's going to make the decision to hire the right coach? I've got
Mhm.
no faith in that.
Yeah,
So,
there's
as a Bears
no track
fan,
record.
yeah, it's like, oh, Eberflus is gone. Cool. But now who are you going to hire? And are
Like
they
who
going to be
hired
just as bad?
Eberflus and kept him there for that long leading up to this?
Exactly. And Nagy, who kept Nagy as long as they did? Who
Oh,
kept, you know, yeah. So,
going back for forever, as long as I can remember. I mean, since Lovie
yeah.
Smith, I haven't been impressed by a single coach in Chicago.
Yeah. And that's the last time we've ever been beating the Packers consistently. So let's get back to
Just
that,
kidding.
Bears.
I love Eberflus. Darn misfit. Where's Matt Nagy at? Call him back up. Call up the
But
old bullpen.
how about Giants Cowboys? You were all over the Drew Lock Giants, right?
Lord, kill me. I full disclosure, I did not watch this game.
You didn't miss a lot.
I read through the play-by-play while I was eating, and it almost put me to sleep quicker than my turkey did. Yeah,
I'm
not.
curious, what did the play-by-play say on DeMarvion Overshawn's tip pass to himself, pick six? That was
They
one of the
broke
best
it
plays
down.
of the year.
So a lot of people don't read the play-by-plays, but there are different writers. So sometimes it'll just be like incompletion, and then other times it'll be like incompletion to the left, tipped off of the hand of so and so. They had a Chatty Cathy in the play-by-play, so it detailed it.
Nice.
I had to look it up because I was like, he did what? Who? Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
was a
liked the
hell of a
play-by-play
play.
writer for this game. Because my
Yeah.
family is not a football family. Like my dad showed up and they turned off my TV. They turned off football.
Oh my,
I was like,
can't be
who?
doing that.
This is America, people. It's fine. I was in the kitchen at the time, so I went back out and turned it back on. But I was like,
There you
no. I'm hosting, but my television stays on, peeps.
go.
But yeah, this game, I don't feel like I missed anything. I
What
watched.
you did miss, let's see, Rico Dowdle's first 100-yard rushing game of his
Who has it?
career.
He got 112 yards. I saw that.
Yeah, that was nice for the Cowboys. And I said this before. How about Cooper Rush? He's like 7-3 as a starter now. Maybe, I mean, the Cowboys, they're more competitive. They're on a 2-game winning streak here.
There's a title that says it's Cooper Rush Elite, and I was
I wouldn't go that far.
like it gave me like that Forrest Whitaker like eye twitch situation. I was like, what? Who wrote this? Like his mother? Like where did this come from? But
Uh,
going into this game, like we had talked about how it was just going to be like the worst quarterback matchup and both coaches were on the hot seat and like no, I don't think anything about this game surprised anyone. Like the turnout was exactly what we expected. There were some, little high points, a cool play here or there, like an accidental trick play, rookies popping off, but I mean, I'm glad they scheduled it for lunchtime. That's all I'm saying.
I liked that it was, I mean, early on it was competitive. You had that Drew Lock nice run that was almost a touchdown.
Yeah,
And the
he
Giants
got
were up
mobile all of a sudden.
7-3.
He's been
Yeah,
he's been carrying a bit on his legs.
yeah. They were up 7-3, 7-6. It looked like it might be a good back and forth game. And the Cowboys kind of pulled away and got the win. But, the Cowboys, we expected them to get this win. They got it done,
Mhm.
and now they've got a 2-game winning streak, and actually a pretty big game here. They're going to be hosting the Bengals on Monday Night Football in Week 14. Two teams that have underachieved to this point, but
And two
actually, like
teams
that's
who have
yeah.
not clarified their identity this season.
Hmm.
Like there have been so many weeks where you pick the Bengals saying like this is a must-win game, like it's a desperation win, and they're just squeaking by with some of these games.
Yeah,
And they have a shitty game. Like I feel the same way about the Cowboys. Like not entirely sure what they're doing. Like they'll have a win. I'll be like, okay, that was great. And the next week I was like, just kidding. Like
yeah.
I'm intrigued to see how that plays out because I am very unsure of both of those teams. But I mean, the other side of the ball, Giants, 7 straight losses, second straight blowout. Like I would not be surprised to see a firing update from this team because I mean, the owner gave
Well,
Brian Dable a vote of confidence last month, said that like he was sticking with him. He cursed the team. They haven't won a single game since he said that. 7 weeks ago, he was like, "No, that's my guy. We're gonna trust him going forward." Like, all right, you're gonna lose out this season then. Yeah.
well,
So I guess God just isn't a Brian Dable fan. Shout out Russ. The worst
well.
quote
I'm
ever.
curious. I'm curious the dynamics here. Did Brian Dable want Saquon Barkley to stay? Was there any, behind the scenes with Dable and the owner?
I'm curious. I because
Yeah.
we've seen people like vouch for him, and we've that one clip that's going around where who was it who was vouching for him to stay?
Oh, it was one of the guys on the staff under
Yeah,
under
it was somebody
under
on
the
the staff
GM.
who
Yeah.
was like, "You guys are
Are
out of
we
your mind for
sure?
letting him leave." Like he went
Yeah.
off on it, but I want to know whose decision that was in the end. Yeah, this situation's a mess. I think Drew Lock had a good game. He made some mistakes as we expect from him, but where the hell is their O-line? 13
Yeah.
quarterbacks, 6 sacks. He still threw for 172 yards, one interception and a fumble, but like he had his shit rocked the entire game. Of course he is throwing picks. Like he probably was seeing stars.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's part of the problem with Daniel Jones too, is playing
did you
behind
just
that O
miss when I
line.
said seeing stars when they were playing the Cowboys? That was hilarious and completely accidental.
That was awesome though. Good job.
Sorry, that was slick. I should have played that off like I did it on purpose, but
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 like my thing is, I think the GM for sure has to go after
Mhm.
this year. After watching what Saquon's doing in Philly, for that reason alone, and the Daniel Jones experiment, getting rid of him, I think you got to get rid of the GM. The question is, does Brian Dable go too? Do you completely reset? And oftentimes, what you want is the GM to hire the head coach so that they're on the same page and they're working together, as opposed to keeping Brian Dable, bringing in a new GM, and saying, "New GM, here's the head coach you're dealing with. You don't have a choice, right?"
I want to know who like are were they on the same page about letting them go? Did one of them stand up? Like
Yeah,
I want to know the inside dynamics on that, and I hope when somebody gets fired or somebody gets let go that we get the truth on the matter. But there's stuff going on there that obviously the fans know nothing about, but somebody like there had to be a conversation
I would
about
love to
ownership.
know the owner's true thoughts on all
Yeah,
this right now.
I
Yeah,
am so curious. Like, was the owner team Saquon and the GM and the coach were both like, nah, like where
yeah.
somebody had to be logical in that situation.
Well, the owner, said it at the time. He's like, "I'm gonna have a hard time sleeping if Saquon goes to the Eagles." and he's not sleeping very well this season at all.
No.
Um, a rumor that I heard. Let's talk about this potential for the Giants. All
Okay.
right, there's
If it
a
helps their defense because they haven't had a pick in 11 games.
this would help their defense. This is a former New York Giants defensive coordinator that won a Super Bowl.
Hmm.
Bill Belichick has been rumored to want to coach the New York Giants.
Hmm.
And there's a rumor that, hey, Bill Belichick's going to want a quarterback, right? There's a quarterback in New York that might not want to go that far. What if there's a Bill Belichick, Aaron Rodgers, New York Giants next year?
That hurts my brain.
Yeah,
Can we change their name to like the elderly care home?
that's what it would be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying either one of them cannot do their job anymore, but they're definitely setting some records with the age limits there. But yeah, that's an NFL record, 11 games without a pick. What a great
Wow.
record. That's like,
Oh, and who's leading the league in interceptions right now? The guy you guys took from the Giants,
yeah,
Xavier McKinney.
I feel like he's in second now.
Yeah, but
But yeah,
he's up there. He's got what,
he was
7?
tied for first 2 weeks ago and or 3 weeks ago, and he's only had one since. So
Yeah,
I
but
could look that up,
still,
but I don't think it's that
I
important. But
mean,
yeah,
so you practically gave away the offensive player of the year and maybe
and the
the defensive
defensive.
player of the year in the same offseason.
Oh God.
Good job, Giants.
Shoot yourself in both feet and then complain about
Let's talk about your Packers, though. And
it.
this game had to make you smile. A
It
night
was so
game
good.
on Thanksgiving night in Lambeau with the snow falling and kicking the shit out of the Miami Dolphins.
Okay, so it went as expected. I would say
Hmm.
as expected, but also hope. Like every now and then, like you think you know how a game's gonna go and you're fucking dead wrong. Like I've done that a couple times this season. Normally I'm pretty good, but like Tua cannot perform in the cold. Like
Yeah,
at the end of the game, someone asked Josh Jacobs while he was eating his turkey, like, well, what do you think went on? He was like, I don't know, them boys look cold out there. Like, yeah,
yeah.
they did look like they did not want to fucking be there. Like from the first play of the game, Miami
Yep.
was,
Well,
nope, fuck this. That ball
the
is
muff
hard.
punt. Yeah.
Yep. From that very, oh, as soon as their offense got in the field, they're like, nope, we're done. That's plenty.
Yeah.
Muff the punt, fucking take us home. We're out. Like, it was beautiful. I wanted more snow, but whatever. I got to win. I got a two-score win, so I'll quit complaining. Dolphins pulling some Dan Campbell shit, but like not in the good
Not
impressive way.
working. Yeah.
Dan Campbell does some
Honestly,
ballsy shit and it pays off because he does it often enough and he's got enough talent on the team and the team is cohesive. Dolphins turning over on downs right before halftime and early in the fourth quarter, like take the points. Like
yeah.
I understand you're down X, but you got to get some points on the board. Like you have to get some momentum. Like if you get all the way to the red zone and it took you forever to get there, and it's either take 3 points and get a little bit of positive momentum or turn over on downs, just fucking take the points. Like
No, for
regroup.
sure. The first one was right before halftime,
Mhm.
and I think they gave up 3 points after it.
Yep.
And you got to get points before halftime. They could have kicked it, and then the one on fourth and goal at the one, and they were down. What they were down at the time. I got it here on my notes. They were down 16. So
Yeah.
I get
A
it.
field
You
goal
want
wouldn't have
to,
helped you anyway, just like,
well,
but
a
at
field
least
goal
get some
would
points on
make
the
it
board.
13. It's positive momentum, and then 2 touchdowns, you can take the lead. And there was still like 12 minutes on the clock. Like,
Yeah, but
take
I
the
feel like their
point.
mentality is like, oh, field goal's not going to help us, so we'll just go for it. Like, just take the points though; they're available, and you haven't been affected. Like, if you had been efficient in scoring throughout the game, sure, go
Yeah.
for it. But how many third downs, fourth downs have we converted until this point?
No, that's a flawed way of thinking, too. To say we're down 16, we need 2 touchdowns. What are the odds of scoring 2 touchdowns and converting both 2 point conversions? You kick a field goal, now you can even miss an extra point and still tie. It doesn't make any sense. And I have more respect for Dan Campbell in his being aggressive and going for it on fourth down and stuff like that because he's not doing it because the analytics tell him to do it. He's doing it because that's his style. That he's just ultra aggressive, and that's the way he's going to play. I can respect that more than hiding behind the numbers and saying, well, the analytics told me to do it, therefore you can't criticize me. You know what I mean? And I'm not a big fan of the analytics. I think like Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins had no shot in this game, regardless of all that. But Mike McDaniel is not helping his team either with those decisions. Tua falls to 0-8 in games below 40 degrees, and that's a flaw, Amanda. I don't know how the Dolphins they have to overcome this. You're not
Yeah.
gonna if you go to the playoffs, you're gonna play in cold weather football. So if you're 0-8, you have to majorly reconstruct and rethink how you're approaching this.
Yeah, I just don't like after the first two losses, like, hey, we're not good in the cold. Like, there are ways to address this. Like, teams
Yeah.
condition for like Green Bay when they had to go play in Miami, they turn up the heat in the training facility. Like, there are things you can do to make it like to mimic the conditions and to get
Yeah.
used to it. I just don't understand how this is still an issue. Like, there are layers you can wear on the field to keep you warmer. Like, there are tricks to it. And
Yeah.
like, don't be a fucking
Well,
tough guy and just be like, no, we're not wearing sleeves. We're too cool for that. And then get your asses kicked on prime TV.
I'm biased. I This is my take. I think it's a head coach problem. I think they
Yeah.
had a better shot under Brian Flores, who brought toughness, who wasn't afraid of that.
I
It's,
didn't see him on the sidelines, like being supportive and amping the guys up and like keeping the blood flowing, like metaphorically and literally in the
well,
situation.
yeah, even that, yeah, dude, jumping jacks, be hype,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, get them hype.
anything.
Like, it's
Yeah,
cold, but it's Thanksgiving. Like, you guys,
yeah,
and I mean, after a 2-6 start, like trying to get back to 500 would have been like this would have been so good for them. Like,
yeah.
technically, this does not eliminate them from the playoffs, but they have to beat the Jets, the Texans, and then like the Dolphins come up. Like, their schedule sucks. Like, and they needed
hmm
this win, and they didn't even seem to care if they got close to it.
Well, I
I saw
mean, what
some,
happened? What happened last year? The Dolphins had a huge lead and were one win away from winning the division and hosting a playoff game. What they do? They couldn't even beat the Bills in Miami in Week
Mhm.
18, and then they had to go to freezing Arrowhead, and they
Yeah.
had no shot in that game. So it's more than just a playing in the cold. It's more like you can't win the big game, to be honest.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
And I just feel like because the second half of the game, they outscored Green Bay 14-6.
yeah,
Had they shown up in the first half, but they were half asleep, like
yeah, brought the
they literally,
energy.
yeah.
Yeah,
ESPN said that they sleepwalked through the first half, which I agree with. Like, they
yeah,
just were not there.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, you get yourself down 27-3, not many teams are going to have a shot. You dig yourself that big of a hole, and
yeah,
that's on coaching to have the team ready to go from the jump.
and normally I've got issues with their offense. In this game, their defense was also not, they were not in it.
Yeah,
They missed 20 tackles in this game.
yeah,
The Packers made them look ridiculous, directly leading to 132 yards of offense.
yeah.
Give
Oh,
that's I would be pissed if I was on that offense because they tried in the second half, but they didn't seem like they wanted to tackle people. Like, I didn't see them trying and missing tackles. It was just like,
that's
oh,
that
called
whole
out.
being
No, okay.
cold. That's like
Yeah.
being cold. You're afraid of that contact
Yep.
because it hurts and it's cold.
Like, Tua seemed like the only person on that team who wasn't afraid of contact in this game, which is
Yeah,
concerning.
it scared me too because he took off running and I was like, get out of bounds. Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing?
Tua's like the NFL's like suicidal toddler. Like, I always joke that my toddlers are suicidal because like they'll climb up on stuff and fall down and like stick their fingers in outlets and like
Yeah.
eat a whole potato chip and try to swallow it without chewing. Like, toddlers are just innately suicidal. That is Tua. Like, he is a toddler doing all the dumb shit that could get him hurt. But like, he's a brave big boy. Like, mommy, I okay. Like, that's Tua to me. Like, I just see him as like some big sweet dummy that like, no, 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 don't hurt yourself, bud. Um,
Mm,
but shout out to Josh Jacobs. He was ridiculous on the ground today. The Packers are rotating through receivers who have off weeks. Christian Watson had an amazing play and then a drop. But it's working for now. But Josh Jacobs is he pulled this team together like none other. And the teams who let these running backs go in the offseason should be ashamed of themselves.
yeah. Seriously. And I mean, you look around at all of them. It's Joe Mixon in Houston, Josh Jacobs, Saquon, Derrick Henry. The list goes on and on. They're all having success. Aaron Jones in Minnesota. You know what I mean? And you guys lost Aaron Jones, but what'd you do? You replaced him. You didn't say, "Oh, well, we'll just plug in AJ Dillon," and
Yeah.
you know,
And you see so many teams do that. Like, oh, we'll just work with what we have. Like, guess
yeah.
what? Why were they your number two if they were going to be good enough
No,
to be number one? Like,
again, real quick, going back to the Giants, how fucked up is it? You let Saquon go, you bring in Devin Singletary, and you give him Saquon's number. What are we doing here? Come
that's
on now.
no. I was not a fan of that move.
um, Real
Maybe they're
quick,
cursed. Maybe the ghost of Saquon is haunting them. Maybe that's the issue.
the ghost. Again, he is still alive.
Not for that team, he ain't.
Real
Okay.
quick, Mike McDaniel. He's 25 and 23 as head coach. I say fire his ass. Get him out of here after this year. Do you agree?
No, they're
They
not
got a
going to. There's no way.
they got a loaded ass roster, and he's like 500. Can't win a
Yeah,
playoff
but
game.
they've had injuries and there's a lot, like you could argue a lot of things. Like they're over 500. Like Tomlin's had 500 seasons and
Yeah,
no
but
one's gonna fire
Tomlin is
him.
greater than, greater than, greater than.
Oh, I understand that. I'm just saying no one is gonna make that move. Like who are you
I
gonna move on
would.
to? Like who's available who would swoop in and be like, you know what? We got this. Like,
Mike Vrabel.
well, I thought he was going to Chicago.
No, we're taking Bill Belichick.
Okay. Alex's Christmas list is getting longer, guys.
I'm asking for a miracle at this point.
Real quick.
Yeah.
You cannot, as a network, NBC, advertise the halftime show performance and then show 12 seconds of it. Every other network on Thanksgiving played the whole halftime show so people at home could enjoy it. You don't advertise Lindsey Sterling all week and then not play the performance. Like that was so weird. Girl playing violin. She's an amazing violinist.
Oh,
She
really?
plays like she's so good. She like dances and does like gymnastic stuff while she's like full ballet, like foot above her head shit while she plays. She's
No.
ridiculously good. But like
That's like
I
an
had my
NBA
niece who
halftime
does not
show.
care about football ready to watch the game because she loves Lindsey Sterling, but she wasn't there. So no, that's bullshit. Do not use people to advertise your broadcast and then not play the thing you advertised. Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even notice that. I'm an old man in the fact that when I see a concert at halftime or whatever, I'm always like, I'm here to watch football, not to listen to a damn concert.
Yeah. But like those, like the Super Bowl and Thanksgiving games, like family who and people who are not normally
Kids
football
and
people
yeah,
are around. They're watching. Like they need a little something, something too. Like,
yeah, that's true.
do you think the halftime show at the Super Bowl is for like the diehard football stat nuts? Like, no.
That's true. I didn't think about that. I was only thinking about myself, so that's a good
Selfish.
point.
See, that's Bears fans.
Well, we've been through enough, so we can be a little selfish. Let's go to the Black Friday game, today's
Mm.
game. On paper, this looks like an absolute blowout. You got the 2-9 Raiders coming into Arrowhead on a 7-game losing streak with Aiden O'Connell, who hasn't played in multiple weeks. But like we always say, division rivalries, throw out the records, you never know. And hate breeds competitive football, and that's exactly what we got. A great game. But what were your thoughts on this one? I mean, I was rooting like crazy for the Raiders here, and again, just like the Bears, they blow it. I don't what the hell, and
So this one, I mean, Vegas should have had the lead from long before the last play of the game, which
yeah.
I have tried to look into the rules about, and I can't figure out if it was a like what the technical rule is.
No, so
I tried to find the exact wording. So in case you guys didn't watch, so the Raiders are down two in this scenario. They're lining up for what could potentially be a game-winning
50,
field goal.
50-yard field goal.
50-yard field goal. At this point, the kicker has made a 22-yard. He's missed a 55, a 56, and a
Six,
58.
58, yeah.
So he's missed
He's
those,
one
but
for four.
there's still a chance. So they're
Yep.
lining up. It was what, second and 10, second and 5?
Something like that. 15 seconds left.
15 seconds left. They're out of timeouts. They have been moving the ball down the field beautifully. So they're lining up. And when you're playing in a loud stadium, someone will tap your back as the center to let you know it's time to snap the ball. So his guy heard something, tapped him, he snapped the ball. They were not even lined up, they were not set. Aiden O'Connell is not even looking towards them because he was not ready for the ball. He's like, they heard a count, someone whispered something across from the defensive line, and they thought that it was time to snap the ball. The ball hit
Yeah.
Aiden O'Connell in the arm. He was not ready to catch it. He went after the ball, but the Chiefs recovered.
What threw everybody was you see the ref coming in saying the play is dead and saying false
Yeah.
start. That's you see a ref coming in saying that.
I
But
thought it
the
was a
refs,
false start. Like,
well, the refs got together, and this is where it gets fishy, is because the refs got together and then ruled it an illegal shift or an illegal motion, and that does not stop the play. So
so everyone else on that line can make a move, a football move that they would normally make, and it's a penalty and the play is remade. So a false start, offsides, those all reset the play. There's a yardage penalty, but those all reset the play. But if the center does it, then it doesn't reset the play.
yes, and then
So
they
that's
said
kind of,
because the I think they spiked it. So because the clock was stopped, that's why it's not a dead ball. That's why it's a live ball, I guess. I don't know. It's
it was very
or
strange, and
no,
I
because they
will.
declined it. The Chiefs were allowed the option to decline it. So they declined it and then the recovery was theirs. And it's like I don't understand why it just doesn't blow the play dead and redo it.
Yeah,
It's so
every other
confusing.
movement when the line is not set is a penalty and the play is dead and they reset it. Like there's
Yeah.
a 5 yard penalty either way. But for some reason, if the center makes a wrong move or hears something wrong or they, jumping off sides, etc., like then the ball, like it was weird. I can't wait to hear Hugh's take on this because I want an explanation. And the NFL rules are so hard to like get into and search with like very
Yeah,
intricate things
very
like this.
yeah,
Um,
worded a certain way. But
but let's so the game was ugly, and I know we have said a win is a win is a win a few times on this season, but the Chiefs are barely scraping by against crappy teams week after
yeah,
week
back
after
to
week.
back weeks against bad teams. Um there's an issue here. I like the Chiefs, they're getting Isaiah Pacheco back. He played in this game, but they're not that good. And I don't
And
know
if Vegas hadn't missed 9 points of field goals, Kansas City would have lost.
yeah.
Like they missed 9 points and the bullshit at the end of the game. Like Kansas City should have lost this game.
So the Chiefs are hard to figure out because just a couple weeks ago, everyone was saying, "Oh, the Chiefs are trying to go undefeated, right? They're trying to break, they're trying to go
Okay, but
17 and
everybody
0."
saying that and the Chiefs saying that were not the same thing. Like Chiefs were never blowing
Exactly.
teams out. I don't think that was their goal. And I don't think they cared about that. Like this team has
Yeah,
been to the Super Bowl back-to-back seasons and won. I
and
think
that's
an undefeated season is the last thing they care about.
and so to that point, I think that's their mentality that like even if like we're struggling against bad teams, but we're winning, and that's all we
Yeah.
care about right now. As long as we get the number one seed and home field, then the Bills, the Ravens, whoever has to come to Arrowhead, and we'll raise our level of play when we get there.
Yeah.
And they're one of the teams that have done it before. They did it last year. They were struggling really bad last year, turned it on come playoff time and won a Super Bowl. So for that reason, we if you're a Chiefs fan, you have reason to trust the
Mhm.
organization and what they're doing. But from the outside looking in, even Chris Simpson said this. He's like, my entire history of watching football, my entire life, tells me this Chiefs team is not going to win a championship this year.
Mhm.
But we saw it last year, so anything's possible. But right now, they're not playing good football. I agree, like not at all.
No, and I mean, the Chiefs deserve to lose this game. They
Yeah.
got so lucky that the Raiders kicker sucked in this game and
Mm-hmm.
that weird situation. I don't know if they said something or someone's voice sounds like Aiden O'Connell or they learned his snap count. I don't know what happened there, and I can't wait for more information about that to come out because I'm sure there'll be stuff coming out about like what actually happened, who said what. Like why homeboy touched him if they weren't actually ready for him to snap the ball. Like, I know it's loud there. I want the full story, but like Kansas City lucked into a win here. Like
Yeah.
they shouldn't have won.
Um, they've lucked into 4 or 5 of them this year. They
Yeah,
could have easily lost so many games this year, and they're finding a way to win. Credit to them. But the big question is, will it last? And
yeah,
I can't wait for next week, Sunday Night Football, prime time on NBC, Chiefs and Chargers in
yeah.
Arrowhead. And I'll go ahead and tell you guys I'm going to pick the Chargers to win that one. So,
They've scraped by in some interesting games. But yeah, I'm intrigued about how that Chargers game looks because I trust this Chargers team.
yeah,
But I mean,
they're,
we almost talked me into picking the Broncos to beat them and the Panthers, and it was 2 points and 3 points.
yeah.
I had an argument to pick the Raiders here, but as I said in last week's podcast, the Chiefs will always find a way to pull it out, and I guess we were right about that too.
Well, and it's easier to find a way to pull out a win against bad teams because they play the Bills, and me and you are both like, we're taking the Bills. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
absolutely. There was no way they were going to beat
Yeah,
the Bills. And
yeah,
I know I said the Chiefs didn't deserve to win this game. The Raiders didn't either. Like
yeah.
you can't hit zero field goal, like
No, they
leaving nine
pissed
points
down
on the
their
field.
leg
Like,
at the end. They were in
oh, it
position
was
to win
bad.
it, just like the Bears, and they pissed down their leg. I mean, you don't deserve to win if you do shit like that. And let me
Yeah,
real quick, let me run through. We both like Antonio Pierce.
we
Hugh
do.
likes Antonio Pierce. A lot of people like Antonio Pierce. We want him to be a good head coach. We wish him well, all that. Let me run through this real quick. Issues I had with Antonio Pierce in this game. So he accepted a penalty. So the penalty would have forced it, would have made it 2nd and 20. If he declined it, it would have been 3rd and 15. He accepted the penalty, and the Chiefs were then able to pick up the first down. Who the hell takes 2nd and 20 over 3rd and 15? I don't like that. So
Yeah.
that's the fourth issue I have with him. Um, he takes a valuable timeout instead of punting, and then tries a 58-yard field goal from Daniel Carlson, who had already missed from 55 and 56. I
Did
don't get
did
that.
Daniel and Anders switch for the day? Because he was kicking like his brother. Like I had to double check who their kicker was. I was like, did they sign Anders?
He did make a 27-yarder, though. Can Anders make a 27-yarder?
Yes, God. He's good for under 30, okay? But so is my 7-year-old. So
but if you've seen your kicker, let's say you're playing Madden and your kicker's missed from 55 and 56, are you
let's
going
go
to
for
trot him out there
58.
for a 58?
No, that was asinine. I absolutely agree with you.
And then lastly, in position to take the game-winning field goal from 50 yards with 15 seconds left, and runs another play that
Hmm.
with the botch snap. Why? Why not just kick the 50-yarder now? Maybe he's like, I don't trust my kicker now because he's missed three,
But it's too
but
fucking
50
late and you're down
is
two. You have
shorter.
to trust him.
Yeah, you don't
It's
have a
too late
choice.
to
And
have
so,
that thought.
so you get greedy, run another play, game over, you fumbled, you know?
Yeah.
So I put this loss on Antonio Pierce. I really do.
Yeah. That was my point is as poorly as the Chiefs played, the Raiders played worse. They were
Yeah.
less efficient. They left way more points on the field. And I mean, you look at their last three possessions. The last one is a fumble. I think it sucks that it counts as a quarterback fumble. Homeboy did
Yeah, I
not
know.
even intentionally touch the ball. It hit him in the arm. They're like, oh no, he fumbled. I'm like, the fuck? Like, hold on. And
Well,
I'm
it'd
like,
be funny if the center had fumble loss. That's his only stat. Like, what else are you
I
gonna put pancakes or something, and then a
wish.
fumble loss?
I fucking hate when all the stats go to the quarterback.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, no, interceptions need to go to receivers too. But their last three possessions, 5 plays, punt,
That'll be weird
15
though.
yards, burned
I
up three
won't
minutes of the
know how
clock.
to gauge in the future if I've got to look at wide receiver interception numbers and shit like that.
It would be so
That's gonna throw
useful.
me off. Yeah.
I would love that shit. Or like, because we have like how many receptions and how many targets. Like we have that, but like,
Target
yeah.
targets is like a new thing too. People didn't talk about targets much like 10 years ago. Now all of a sudden they're talking about targets every week.
Well, I don't give a shit how many catches you made. Like, did you catch half of the time that you were thrown to? Like, I want
Yeah,
to know percentages. Like,
and if you're 0 for 5, what a shit game that is, right? Like
yeah.
3 drops and you're 0 for 5.
Yeah, I want to see drops. I also want to see this is way too pedantic and they would never do this, but like pickable passes. I want that to be a separate quarterback stat because like I know Jordan Love had a good week as far as interceptions, but there should have been
They
two picks
have
in that
that.
game.
Analytics has a stat like interception worthy throws.
Yeah, yeah. That
Yeah.
needs to be like in their regular stat line though. Like not just on one network, but like Jordan
I
Love's
don't
numbers
like
are
it.
off
What
the
the fuck
charts.
is interception worthy? Pick it off or don't.
Well, I mean, like you play a shitty defense. Like Miami didn't want to be at that game. They weren't catching anything, offense or defense. But like
Yeah, yeah.
if
You
Green
could
Bay
throw
had played
all interception worthy. You would have won that game.
Yeah, dude. If Green Bay had played a better defense, like Jordan Love would have been picked off like at least two times. I'm like, I'm curious what like I just want Jordan Love to be the best at something, and I know that would be his stats. That
Oh, that's what it is.
Jordan Love
So
MVP of pick worthy passes.
selfish Packers fan stats now. I see.
That's not a good stat to win at.
um, how about Brock Bowers going off once again? He does not look like a rookie. He
He
needs to
does
be in
not. He looks good.
consideration for offensive rookie of the year. Like he's balling.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some
So
of those rookies are really performing this season, and I'm excited to see what happens in this final stretch of the season. And I want to hear your picks for Sunday's games.
absolutely. So
Interested if you have any off the wall ones.
can't wait for those. Can't wait for the stretch run. December, it's going to be a lot of fun. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll get our picks episode out after this. All right. See you guys later. Peace.